makes me have to start all over and redo the whole good morning, everybody. No, not a good morning. Good day, everybody. Good rising, good sunshine, good whatever. Just stay out of morning. Summer House Wholesale Real Estate Training number 136 on this beautiful new op day of July 6, 2015. Happy rising, everybody, and welcome John Luyster to the show.
Hey, good day, everybody, and welcome to the Hangout. What do you got going on there, Paul? Some kind of speakers? New speakers?
What do you mean?
I know, I hear an echo. Like when I talk, I hear myself echoing back through your speakers. It's really weird. It usually doesn't do that. So
Google's doing stupid things this morning. It just now would not. I mean, I had this thing all set up, ready to go, and I don't know why it's been doing this every once in a while, but I go to kill the other one. I go back to this one. I fire it up, right? And then the first thing you get here is the invite page where you invite people. Well, you have to invite somebody or the Hangout won't start. And it goes to, I go to invite you, and guess what happens? I hit invite, and it just sits there, and it freezes, and it won't start up the stupid Hangout. So
that's a lot of fun.
I had to totally delete everything and start the whole thing over half-assed, and that's why we're late. Sorry, everybody, but that's Google-licious for you.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what? At least we get what we pay for, right? And this is a free service. So at least we're getting something out of it. Pretty good ROI here. We're actually, you know, even with being 3 minutes late, we're live on a Hangout, broadcasting to millions and millions of potential internet wholesalers.
Millions.
So, yeah, I kind of woke up this morning at about 10 to 7, and the first thing I did was I jumped on a morning training Hangout call that Paul and I have a mentor here in Phoenix locally. He's not a real estate mentor, although he is someone that is in real estate. And jumped onto that and fell asleep during it, actually. I woke up about 10 minutes before the first Hangout. So I'm going to just start off by apologizing that I am like, head is in a fog to this morning. It's nuts. And so kind of a blank mind. So I'm really open to hear what Paul's been thinking about this morning, as I can tell he has a little bit more energy than I do here.
Oh, yeah? Are you maybe a little lackadaisical and mind-numbing because you did not take action yesterday?
That is true.
Maybe I just got to call you out on that one. So, is your failure an opportunity or an excuse?
It's both.
Well, that was actually something that I wrote down last session. I don't know exactly when or where. I was doing something apparently, and I had my notepad open for this page here. And I don't know, maybe it wasn't even last session. Maybe it was months ago from just having the book sitting here, and I wrote it down. I don't know, but that's what I had written down there. And I was going to pull the page out and throw it away and come up with something for today's content, but then I looked at it and I said, you know what? I'm just going to scratch out this stuff up here that I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. Whatever it is, I have no clue. But I'm just going to use this for my notepad page here. And I think, is your failure an opportunity or an excuse? Is a great place to go today.
I agree with you 100%.
So, I don't really have any content for it, though. I just thought it's a great place to go. Is your failure an opportunity or an excuse? Well, I'll tell you what. Most people have failure. Well, everybody has failure in their life. We have failure every day in our life. I mean, if we didn't have failure, I don't know. There's failure in your life everywhere you turn. But how you react to that failure, how you let that failure affect you, is what and how you will ultimately have be and do at the end of the day, because if you make your failure an excuse that, oh, well, that didn't work because of blah, 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 you know what I mean? Or the economy, the government, the prices were too high, you know, whatever it is. If you make that failure an excuse, or let me rephrase that, if you make excuses for that failure, you're done for. It ain't going nowhere. But if you look at that failure as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to find new information, an opportunity to challenge yourself, an opportunity to step up, make things better. If you look at failure that way, hey, guess what? You got a real chance. You just might go places. You're a pretty bright boy. You get yourself some education, you might go somewhere. But realistically, yeah, that's life in and of itself. I mean, there's two kinds of people that walk the face of this earth. People that look at the crap that happens to them and tries to figure out why it's happening, how to not make it happen again, how to, you know, make things better so that those types of things don't happen, how to get beyond that, how to put it behind them so it never happens anymore, and how to look forward to what that can bring them. And then there's the other side who, when crap happens to them, they just like, oh my God, look what happened to me again today. Mo, boo, boo, boo. I'm not even going to go into it because I'm sure you probably know some people like this. Heck, you might even know one of them very intimately. But, you know, you're one of the two. There's really no in between. There's some people who, I guess there probably is an in between, because I think there's a large group of the one side who's trying to get to the other side. And that, I think, is the in between. If you're trying, well, let me rephrase that too. Not if you're trying, if you're actually making attempts, if you are taking action towards trying to get from one side to the other. I think that's the middle group. But the people in the bottom group that can't step up and do something that aren't taking some kind of actions to get to the other group, they're never going to get out of there. So with that, John, what do you think? Did that spark any thoughts for you?
I have ton of thoughts for you. It's just really hard for me to talk when I hear my voice echoing back through. So I'm going to try to just battle through that giant. It's a giant distraction to hear that. Anyway, what I was going to throw in there about what you just wrapped up there is, I actually don't like the word try, because there is only do. You're either out there doing it and failing, or you're out there doing it and succeeding. There is no try like that. You know, that to me is an excuse to get out of doing something. When you ask somebody, say, hey, do you want to learn how to do real estate? I'm trying to find the time, I tried to do real estate. I'd like to try to do real estate. You know, that's an excuse for failure right there. I think using certain words like that is going to set you up for failure. But more back to the point of what you're talking about, is your failures lesson or an excuse? Like that's something I think a lot of people need to think about, and that's very interesting, because is your failure a lesson or excuse? I happen to believe that, you know, failure is not necessarily a bad thing. No one likes to fail, of course. Failing can be disheartening. Failure could be damaging to your psyche and to your self-conscious. But failure is necessary in order to be successful, and failure is what separates the two groups of people. People that are going to be successful, or the people that are going to allow themselves for a false sense of security to not take action and use that failure as an excuse. Failure is nothing more but a life lesson. You fail, you examine the situation. Okay, this is what I was working towards accomplishing. I didn't. I failed, and I ended up here instead of where I wanted to be, which was up here. okay, why? What's the lesson to learn here? What could I do differently next time and moving forward into the future to have the desired result? What did or didn't I do in order to cause myself to fail? And rather than making an excuse or looking to blame other people or using that failure as an excuse to say, hey, you know what? This stuff doesn't work. Look, I tried. I got nowhere with it. Or, you know, I failed because I'm just not the right kind of person and this isn't for me. You got to get out of that mindset. You got to get in the mindset of treating each failure as just an opportunity to learn a lesson, apply the lesson learned from that failure the next time you're working at it, accomplishing that desired outcome, and freaking take action. Don't be one of these people that use it as an excuse to continue to do nothing or to fail. That's my thoughts on that one.
Yeah. So what is an excuse? I mean, basically an excuse is nothing more than a self-made up reason why you don't have to even give it a chance or give it a try or do anything at all whatsoever. You just, the perfect out for you to sit on your tuchus and do squat. Do nothing. Take no action. Never get out of your comfort zone. Never take a chance. Never pick up a book. Never try to learn. That's what an excuse is. It's something that you make up in your mind that gives you the ability to justify the fact that you don't have to do shit. That you can just wait and let this world happen to you.
That's it. It's a security blanket, really. People feel more secure not stepping out of their comfort zone. People feel more secure making up excuses or to justify their failure or blame other people for their failure. And all that does when you blame other people or justify yourself with excuses or complain about the failure, all that's doing is setting yourself up for disaster, and it's going to keep you from succeeding. It's like, you know, I don't know, imagine you're at, you know, what's a good example? Imagine you're at war, and you're battling the enemy, and you have this huge battle, and you lose half your forces. And, okay, you're going to turn tail and run away and hide or retreat if you're in the enemy's, you know, in the face of the enemy. No, you're going to stand there, and you're going to stand your ground, and you're going to keep moving forward because there is no option but to succeed. You know, I don't know if that's the best example, but you can't just give up because something knocks you down. That's what unsuccessful people do. You've got to just plow through the trenches, so to speak. And, you know, one of the things, like, what causes people to make excuses about failure? You know, I think that most people are just, they want to feel secure. They want to have a sense of security. They want to feel comfortable, and they listen to that internal voice in their head that doesn't care if they're successful or not, it just wants to survive. And it's just going to feed you everything you want to hear to justify that failure. It's going to keep you from taking action. Most people fall into the category of listening to that little voice. I mean, you can tell that just in the fact that, you know, 80% of the people out there are kind of just living their lives kind of sheepishly because it makes them feel comfortable. They just follow what the person ahead of them did, or they're doing what their friends are doing because they don't want to step outside the box because that makes them uncomfortable, and they're totally content and fine with really getting nowhere in life.
Yeah, I kind of like the little war scenario there, and I'm going to elaborate on that just a little bit. Like you said, you go out there and you have this big old battle plan, right, that you're going to go into this certain region and you're going to fight this battle, and you go in there and, man, you're getting blown out of the water left, right, and center, and like John says, bam, half your troops are gone. What are you going to do? Turn tail and run? Or are you going to, you know, establish a base where you can, you know, a stronghold where, you know, okay, hey, maybe we ran out there too fast or whatever, but we can hold this right here. Let's regroup. Is what you're going to do. You're going to regroup. You're going to sit there and grab a piece of land or whatever that you can have your stronghold, and you're going to regroup, and you're going to go back and you're going to mastermind with some of your upper people, and you're going to come up with a brand new plan instantly, right there on the spot. You don't have time to sit there and do a bunch of research and call and have all this stuff going on. You got to get together. You got to make a plan right now, and you got to get out there and execute it. And that's what you're going to do. And that's what taking on a challenge, taking on the opportunity of a failure is all about. Hey, we went out there. Holy crap, we got blown out of the water. Whoa, step back a second. Let's take a look at this. What did we do wrong? Where do we make our mistake? What can we do better? Which way should we turn? Which way should we go? What's the best way to do this? Okay, boom, there it is. Let's go. Bam, you're on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then rather than making excuses about why something didn't work, you can actually then strategize and, like I said, readjust your actions and your thinking to create a plan and adapt your plan so that you can achieve the desired outcome. If you're in the habit of blaming and making excuses or giving up, you know how you're just gonna, of course you're gonna fail every time you try something. If you have that mentality that, well, if I don't succeed, I'm just gonna give up because I'm in the habit of giving up after I don't succeed, and or making excuses or blaming other people or trying to justify it rather than just owning up to the mistake or the fail or what caused you to fail.
Yeah, ownership of it is big. So let me ask you, what is your excuse for not taking action and jumping into this wholesale real estate thing that you've been looking into for how long now? I mean, seriously, that's where most people are. And you know what? I'm not bashing you, but I'm bashing you because I was there. I did a lot of that, paralysis of analysis phase. I got stuck there for a while myself, but eventually you just got to pull the trigger and you just got to go. And you know what? The sooner you do it, the better off you're going to be. The sooner you do it, the easier it's going to be, because even in our other hangout, the network marketing thing, you don't even want to know what the heck you're doing out there. The more you start knowing, the harder it becomes to pull that trigger. You don't want, you just, all you got to do is find someone who can show you what you need to do and just say, okay, I don't know nothing, show me what to do and I'll do it. And when they tell you what to do, just go do it. And guess what? Those are the people who become successful. The ones who sit there and think, oh, well, he showed me that, and I don't know if that's the best way to do it. That doesn't make sense to me. Maybe if I do it this way, it'll be better. People who outthink themselves, and that's what you're doing if you're in that paralysis of analysis phase, is trying to outthink yourself by thinking that you have to learn everything before you get going. Get going and learn as you go. That's your excuse.
Yeah, pretty much. There's no excuse. There is no excuses. You should make no excuses. My dad was always someone, that was one good lesson I learned from my dad. He drilled it into me at an early age. It's like, just take responsibility. Don't sit there making up excuses for things. Just take responsibility for it. And actually, I've pretty much applied that to my whole life. Always, like when I do something that's wrong or I get called out on something, rather than sit there and dither around, and I feel pathetic actually because of being drilled into my head from such a young age. I feel pathetic when I hear excuses come out of my mouth. And it's such a natural, it's funny because I think it's a natural state of man is to immediately retreat to a weak, excuse-filled, justify, blame others to get the heat off yourself, to get that feeling of discomfort off yourself, to just turn around and make excuses. It's kind of a weak thing to do, and in fact, unfortunately, and this is why we've got to be warriors and remind ourselves every single day to keep pushing forward, is because it's easier to be a weak individual than it is to be a strong one. I mean, obviously, if it was the other way around, we'd have a lot more powerful, upright, good, positive people in the world. But the truth, the reality is we don't. We don't have that, because it's the road, the road less traveled, that's the harder one to travel. That's why there's less travelers walking down that road, taking that path. But that's not for us. That's not the people that are watching this hangout. That's not the people on our team. I certainly hope it's not you, the new person that's watching Paul and I on this hangout for the first time. But, you know, back to what you were saying about wholesale real estate. And so many people say, oh, I'd love to wholesale real estate. Oh, you'd love to do it? Why aren't you doing it then? Oh, I really don't have time because I got to work and I've got kids, yada, yada. If you make excuses now for not having time to do something new, to try something out, chances are that's going to be the excuse you're going to make for the rest of your life, and you're going to be one of those people that live on someday I'll, where you're someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that, and you're stuck on this place, and it's a mental place. It's an actual location in your mind. The someday I'll. It's your brain is vacationing there right now. If you're making excuses about anything, that's where your home is in your mind, is in that place where someday you're going to do something. Someday you'll take action. Someday I'll. And guess what? It's a hard place to get off of. It's a hard island to get off of. So, and it all starts with eliminating your drive or your ability. It's not even an ability. I guess your habit of making excuses, really. That's the only way to get off that island.
That's exactly why it's so hard, because it is an island, and everybody dreams of being on an island, right? So when you're on Someday Island, you're dreaming about being on an island. You're there. You're where you want to be. In here anyway, not out there. So I got to say, you know what? I got to say one thing, and I got to say kudos to your dad. High five. I just drew a blank. What's his name?
Duke.
Duke. High five, Duke. That is an awesome. I mean, if there is one lesson to teach kids, just one. If there was only one lesson to teach them, that's it right there. Just freaking take responsibility for everything that you do and everything that you say. Bottom line.
There's no point in making an excuse.
No, it's a waste of time. You're sitting there you're sitting there trying to think up some lame ass excuse while you could just have the problem solved, over and done with. Next, moving on. Success, failure overcome, success achieved. Next, that's all it is. That's I wish I would have had that lesson. The only lesson I got that I thought was an awesome lesson was do your work, good, and do it right the first time. That was I thought that was a great lesson, but doesn't touch this one. Because you know what? If I didn't do the work right, good the first time, what did I do? I made an excuse.
I made an excuse why the work wasn't done right.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't do that because this happened, or I couldn't do that because this guy was a fool, or I couldn't do that because you didn't freaking give me, or you know what I mean. But yeah, that one lesson right there will take you lots of places.
And I would like more people to reach out to you and I, Paul, and hook up with us and learn. If you're sitting on the fence wanting to learn wholesale real estate, and we talk to a lot of people all the time that say they want to do it, and the number one gripe that I hear from people is that I found something online, but these people want to charge me $200 to buy their product online to learn wholesale real estate. I went to this event and they tried to sell me another seminar for $5,000 about doing real estate. And I don't want to spend money on that stuff. And you know what? I don't have respect for that. I came to this conclusion that there's a lot of seminar gurus out there that are selling expensive seminars, and to me, there's a better way, a cheaper way to learn this business without having to go to a seminar. But I'm someone that if it wasn't for spending about 10 grand on a seminar and a training and a personal coach about real estate, I don't think that I'd be sitting here today presenting to you this opportunity to become part of a successful wholesale team. Funny thing is, at no cost right now, at no cost to you except the investment of your time. And I would say if I was like everybody else that I told that I was taking these seminars and going to this coach and telling me, oh man, you just wasted your money. That stuff's a scam. Those guys are just good at selling the courses. And you know what? I will say, knowing what I know now, I of course learned a lot more by doing. But if I didn't put my money where my mouth is and make that investment and take those seminars and then take action on what they told me to take action on, I don't know that I would have had any success at this. But again, I'm not a person that's really ever made excuses for that. I've always owned up to my mistakes. In fact, I've owned up to them in a bigger way than probably I should have in my life. It took me 34 years of my life to actually realize that I don't need to feel guilty about the shit that I did in the past. And when you feel guilt about stuff rather than learning a lesson and moving on from that, that'll keep you from being successful too, because you've got this burden and this weight on your shoulders. The point I'm trying to make is that, these courses, these seminars, these things that are out there, are they a waste of money? That really depends on one thing and one thing only. That depends on you. What kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person that's going to be like, shit, man, I just invested 10 grand into this. I don't got a pot to piss in. These guys say this works. I'm going to do exactly what they say. I'm going to take action, and I'm going to figure this thing out, and I'm going to make it work, and I'm not going to be stopped by a couple of roadblocks or hurdles that I'm going to have to jump along the way. And voila, you could be flipping 10 deals a month, minimum. That's what we're doing, and that's where we started from. We started from taking seminars. So Paul actually started long ago in the past, but I took my first seminar in January 2012, signed up for all these gurus, met Paul in February of that year. Basically, I found Paul and created a relationship by following through what they taught me in the seminar, and within like 4 months of meeting Paul, we had flipped our first 2 deals. It was a rocky road, which we won't get into the story. It was a rocky road from there to get to we are here today, but guess what? There was one thing consistent throughout the entire 3.5 years since me and Paul formed a business alliance and flipped our first 2 deals, and that was persistence. That was, we just made $32,000 flipping 2 houses. That's pretty much 7 months of the salary that I make in the entire year working my construction job, I made in 2 weeks of flipping real estate. And I'm going to figure out how to make this happen consistently and regularly, and I'm not going to make an excuse. I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fail, and I'm going to fail big, and I'm going to invite lots of people to fail along the way until we figure out how to succeed. And that's kind of the mindset that you need in life in general. So that's kind of my final thought for the day. So
yeah, I'm just going to throw in that, there's definitely, we talked about 2 types of people here, 3 actually with the crossover group. Or was that the other one we were talking about? Oh, that was the other. That was our other hangout.
You're blending the hangout.
But anyway, no, we talked about 2 kinds of people here. But anyway,
yes, we did.
But anyway, I was just going to say that like right here we have 2 very different approaches to how we got where we are today. John pretty much went out 1 seminar, ended up spending big money on that 1 seminar, took him to where he wanted to go. Myself, lots of seminars, didn't spend big money on any of them, spent, decent sized small money on a bunch of them, and, took me longer to get there, but, but here I am connecting with a person like John. So, 2 different types of personalities there that really actually sort of mesh together very well, because my approach is a little more coordinated and sort of planned out kind of a thing, or step by step kind of a thing. And John's approach is a little bit more like, dump the bucket on there and let's get this thing rolling, So, but everybody's different, and your approach might be more like mine, or it might be more like John's, or it might be somewhere in the middle. Doesn't matter. What the bottom line is, where this all started, is you going to make an excuse why you're not doing it, or are you just going to get up off your ass and start doing it? And you're either going to see some success by getting up off your ass, or you're never going to see any success by making the excuse. And with that, everybody, unless John's got a final word.
Yes, I have a final word now. I realize after 9 o'clock. You know what? I just want to point out one thing. It takes you know what? You need a team to be successful in real estate. If you want to be flipping properties and flipping the freedom and be making building wealth, you're never gonna be able to do it on your own. And you know, there's one quick little thing that I learned recently, where you have the turtle, the gazelle, and I think the eagle. I can't remember the third. And basically each one of these animals represents something that you need on the team. You need the turtle. You need the guy that moves kind of slow and that wants to plan everything out and create the perfect system. But the problem with the turtle is that he takes so long planning that he doesn't ever really get to implementation. Now you have the gazelle. The gazelle is the guy that wants to run out there, go, 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 make it happen, but he's got no direction. He's got no plan. He's got the drive, he's got the want, he's got the desire, and he's ready to go out there and take action today, but he's got no clue what the hell he's doing because he isn't able to step back and make the plan. But you need the gazelle, just as you need the turtle. And I think it's the eagle is the guy that's kind of right there in the middle that can kind of go.
You could just kind of flying over the top of both of these two, looking down, going, "Yo, little turtle man, come on a little bit farther," and going, "Yo, Mr. Gazelle dude, oh, come back here a second.
Come back, slow down a little bit.
Start you over again."
Right. The eagle's able to take the plans of the turtle and get them in the hands of the gazelle, and then correct and continue as they go along. So.
Yep. And
I think Paul and I lean towards a gazelle and an eagle, and I think Paul leans towards the turtle and the eagle, but I definitely think he's progressed himself into more of a gazelle-type role here in the last 3 years since I met him. But the reason I bring up that little analogy is that you need a team. You can't do this on your own. Your personality has one way of approaching things, and you need to mastermind and form alliances with people with a different mindset than you so that you can grow and further your power and get more done. So, I mean, and that's another lesson that, unfortunately, I didn't learn till later in life, is that you don't have to do everything on your own, and you don't have to do it right the first time. You just can't make excuses for failure. You need to go out there and realize if you want to be rich, successful, wealthy, healthy, happy, it takes a team.
And you know what? It really takes it's really difficult for somebody to be all three of those. I think, like John said, you know, you can very easily be a little bit of both. Like, I think I'm the e-girdle and John's the gazeagle, but but to be gazertigal, most people don't have it in them. Most people can do kind of two phases of this, but you can't really do three. That's why, like you said, teams are really important. Having other people on your team, especially having more of these in your team, more brains and more minds to come up with ideas, to share, to bounce things off of, to, you know, pick up and run where someone else leaves off. That kind of thing is powerfully important. So again, PropertyNoodlers@gmail.com, where the system costs you no money to get involved with, unlike many of the other ones that are out there. And there's no excuses. This is all about do, baby, do. You know what? If you don't do, you go home. That's all there is to it. There's no thinking involved. We take all the thinking out of it. All you got to do is go do. All right? So if you like that idea, PropertyNoodlers@gmail.com. And with that, oh universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom, with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own being to whatever end I might desire. Everybody have a great day, and we will see you back here on Wednesday